This is Indie Book Publishing. Indie Book Publishing is a show about new books and the authors who wrote them. It's an opportunity for prospective readers to hear directly from the writers, to hear what inspired them to write and publish, and to hear all the inside details about their books. And now, Indie Book Publishing with your host, Steve Jorgensen.
The title of the book, Energize Education through Open Source. Using open source software to enhance learning, and the author, Christopher Whittum, and Chris joins us now on Indie Book Publishing. This interview brought to you by Lulu Publishing. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Steve.
Great to have you with us. You're going to open up a whole world that most people probably don't know much about. When we say Linux operating system, most people's probably their eyes cross, they go blurry. But what a world this opens up to all kinds of applications and software, and especially for students, especially, I guess, for tight budgets, because this software is free, right?
That's correct, Steve. The software is free.
Well, that's everybody likes free.
That's true. No argument there.
No argument. Well, before we get into, let me just read what you say about your book in general. Open source software is released under a license that, unlike proprietary software, allows users to share and change the software. There are literally thousands of applications that could just as readily be utilized as their commercial counterparts, yet few people are aware of their existence. And so I guess it's pretty obvious why you wrote the book, because there's so few aware. Well, they're not aware. They're not unaware anymore because of your book.
Well, thanks, Steve. I hope so. That is what was my motivation for writing the book. I thought it was quite literally a tragedy that all this useful software was out there and virtually no one knew about it.
Tell us about your background and how it all came to pass to bring you to this point where we have this great book about the Linux operating system.
Well, I've been using Linux in one form or another. There are many distributions out there since 2002. 2009, I was wrapping up grad school, and a friend of mine suggested that I use Ubuntu Linux, which it's based on another distribution of Linux, Debian, which offers access to thousands of applications. Ubuntu is just a little easier to use. And when I started using it, I went into its repository of software and was stunned at all of the software out there that was either specifically designed for educational purposes or that could be used in some capacity with education. And I thought, this is wonderful. Someone needs to enlighten educators and the public in general about this software. And so I set about writing a book. It's been close to 4 years of research and writing. It's been very rewarding. It'll be even more rewarding. People see it, read it, and begin using the software. They'll benefit. The teachers will benefit. The parents, the students, especially the students. I got to forget them. There's just so much out there. Productivity. There's tools for learning, tools for organization, for the individual and also for districts and even colleges.
So when we hear the term open source software, give us just a basic definition of what that means.
Okay, open source software is released under a license which allows the user to freely share the software with others, and if they are, let's say, a software developer, a programmer, it gives them permission to change the software with the intent of improving it. If they think their changes are an improvement, They're encouraged to share those as well, to share the improved product. In comparison to, say, proprietary software, which is usually released under a license forbidding you to do any of that. I think you're allowed to make one backup copy, and you're never supposed to touch the code behind the software.
So, for example, like a Microsoft Office software, that's something you pay for. You can't touch it, change it, share it. It's for your use only.
As I think I say this in the book, in fact, open source software really belongs to the user. If you want to look at it that way, right? Microsoft Office is an excellent example of proprietary software as opposed to open source software.
So when you talk about all these applications, all this available assistance out there on through this operating system, why is it so much of a secret? To most, why do so few people know about it?
For one thing, a lot of these developers put this stuff together, do it in their spare time. They don't have the funds needed to advertise, like say the big guys do, the people that are doing it professionally. I think that's one of the big reasons. Let's see. In fact, that's probably the biggest reason.
Okay. So does it take very long to learn how to use Linux?
It's fortunately with the way the graphical interfaces have come, it's probably more approachable than it was, say, 10 years ago. The biggest difference probably today compared to Windows is probably the directory structure, where you'll find your files. Take a little bit of time. I cover the rudimentary details you'd need to maintain a Linux system in Chapter 1. There's certainly more material available on that topic, but I think it's a lot more approachable than it ever has been.
And then you have a whole curriculum. Tell us about how you chose that, why you did, and give us a little idea of what's there in your curriculum.
Well, second chapter is on curriculum. I chose to organize it according to all state departments of education organize things according to frameworks, which would be, in layman's terms, would be science, language arts, mathematics, and underneath each of these frameworks are what they call curriculum strands. So, for example, a curriculum strand under the mathematics framework might be algebra, and that's how I chose to organize it, so that teachers it'd be something familiar to them. They would go and look into language arts. Oh, here's something on writing. What tools can I use for writing? That was my. Let's see. That was how I chose to organize it. That's the reason I chose to organize it that way. Just to make it more easier for teachers to find the information they need.
And so when they find this information, they can adapt it to helping their students, additional resource for helping the students learn better.
I even suggest, I only cover, I cover probably quite literally a fraction of what is out there for educational software, but let's see. I try to, I actually suggest for them ways that they could integrate a particular piece of software. I discuss probably for each curriculum strand 2, 3, maybe 4 pieces of software and discuss how they could be utilized. I describe what they do and how you can integrate them into your classroom.
So we have language arts, mathematics, science, social studies, the arts, and then you even include Bible studies.
Well, I found that there were a couple of programs that were geared towards learning about the Bible, and I thought, well, one of the target audiences for this book, of course, would be homeschoolers, and many of them homeschool for that reason. They want to integrate religion into their curriculum, also at home. I thought, people might find it useful just for their personal use even. These programs, basically, they allow you to read scripture, they quiz you on it, and I thought, it's certainly worth putting in there. Someone might find value in it. Maybe that's the key. I just hope somebody finds value in what I've created.
And then you have a chapter on productivity. What is the LibreOffice?
LibreOffice is an open source office suite. It's comparable to Microsoft Office. In fact, all the components are compatible with their Office counterparts, I think, except for the database component. Database software is more complex, and for a variety of reasons. It was once it's branched off from OpenOffice, which many people may have heard of, another open source productivity suite. It consists of a word processor, writer, spreadsheet tool, Calc, presentation software, which is Impress, a drawing application, which is an interesting addition, and Base, which is the database component. And the database component, like Microsoft, accesses all of the features you'd expect to find in a modern database software: tables, queries, forms. All the database people, they know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. So you're kind of basing, I guess, this whole book is really based on the premise. Not to be afraid to push established boundaries, or don't be afraid to ask questions. I mean, there's just a lot of things out there, but most people are afraid to go there.
I think that's the other thing. When we get comfortable, I've been using this software for so long, I like it. And so what if it costs me X dollars every year, or every time a new version comes out? And it's just human nature. But if the opportunity to save money is out there, I would leap on it. And it is out there. And I can't encourage people enough to try something different. Just because you haven't heard of it doesn't mean it won't work for you.
And in looking around, other books that might be like yours, you couldn't find anything.
There are a few on that I have seen on online bookstores, but they don't go to the depth that this does. I cover a lot of pieces of software. I propose how they could be integrated in the curriculum or utilized in some way or other. I just don't. What I saw did not cover. I think one was a collection of Wikipedia articles, which I guess is fine, but the problem with Wikipedia is that anybody could write an article on a topic, and it doesn't matter whether they're knowledgeable on it. I could write an article on astrophysics, and I know absolutely nothing about it. And I mean, all of my sources are said are cited. It's my research, so it comes from me. It's my research. There's no hearsay here. It's all a genuine article.
Well, you show how that this book shares how this software and hardware can be obtained, and gives suggestions for integrating it into educational programs, and of course shows how schools can find the options that work best for their students and teachers. So it seems like it's very flexible and a great additional resource.
That's what did I like to think of it? That's what I like to think of it, Steve. There's so much out there. If something doesn't work for a school or for a teacher, they try something else. I also provide at each end of each chapter an online resources section where they can go to the website for the software, learn more about it, download it. And not all the software in here is necessary for Linux. Some of it is for other platforms, Microsoft Windows and Apple Mac OS. There is I do have a website too that corresponds with the book. So,
and what is that?
It provides links. Pardon me. It is EnergizeEducation.org, and I provide all of those links on the website, so you don't have to go through the grief of typing in lengthy URLs URLs.
The title of the book is Energize Education Through Open Source, and we've been listening to the author, the researcher, Christopher Whittum. Chris, tell us how to get your book.
My book is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Lulu Publishing, lulu.com. It is also available as an ebook for Barnes & Noble Nook, and it can be also bought as an ebook from lulu.com.
Well, thank you so much, Chris, for being with us on Indie Book Publishing.
Thank you, Steve.
And this interview has been brought to everyone by Lulu Publishing.